Hello, Elizabeth. Hello, Becky. Hi, how are you? I'm just going to prepare my water for the brushes, and we are going to start in a moment. I'm almost ready. Let's give maybe 5 minutes for everybody to join. I think my husband's poor phone is not even aware what time is it. Hello, Gabi. Okay. I always want to have another screen so I can see your comments when I'm working, and it's not always easy to look on the top. Perfect. Hello, hello guys. I'll be right back. Hello everyone. I'm very glad to see you. We have 24 people already. That's great. That's a great beginning of the year. And you can grab something to drink. You can maybe take a piece of paper or a notebook if you'd like to take some notes. Maybe something will be important for you to note. And then we are going to start. And I'm freaking out and I'm excited at the same time. So this is going to be something new for me, and I just hope this is going to work the way I wanted. I'm bringing the examples closer so I don't have to run to pick them up all the time. I have my kit. Becky, you are the best cheerleader. Hello, Noemi. Hello, Caroline. Oh, I hope. Okay, I think I can switch off my... Hello, hello. What? Hello, everyone. We have 31 people already. That's great. You are joining. And of course, I know some of you won't be able to watch it live or watch it all live because usually these streams are quite long. They 2 hours minimum. And please don't worry, everything is recorded and it is possible to rewatch many times in the future. So if you want to come back to the streams we did before, they're all waiting for you. You can always go and watch any of the ones that we were doing in the previous months as well. Yes, it's great to see you, and it is great to have you here in the beginning of the year. And yesterday or 2 days ago, I was writing the invitation to the new show for the patrons, something that I was thinking about for the last weeks. And as I said in that text, I was thinking beginning of the year is the best moment to start the series of live stream about creativity and about waking up your creativity, about exercising with your creativity, about finding ways to be creative, because usually after holiday break people get lazy or they start to feel helpless or they start to feel exhausted because they were eating too much or they were it's not this year, but I usually get overwhelmed with the amount of time I had to spend with people. This happens to me after holidays, especially when I spend the time with my family, and then I'm just drained. So it is not great time to expect yourself to be very creative because we are using our energy on digesting food and watching movies or doing things that are just normal life. And the longer the break is, the harder it is to start again. So I was thinking January is this month when we usually think like, okay, this year I'm going to make more art, or this year I'm going to use the time around holidays for creating, or I'm going to journal every day, or we try to make these resolutions and they don't really work too well. And there are some reasons why they don't work. I've seen quite interesting article about that, but I think it's good time to discuss what we can do and how to change our approach to creativity to help yourself avoid creative blocks and to trust yourself more and to enjoy the process of creativity a little bit more and to change your expectations and just make the whole creative process a little bit easier for everybody. So this is just the first part of the longer series, and we're going to talk about creative mindfulness today, and I'm going to explain what I mean, and then I'm going to show you a lot of examples. Yeah, I'm still in lazy mood. Me too. And I will tell you what I did just moments ago, because I just made a project before the show. So there are many ways, and I will talk a little bit about the whole concept of the series now, and then we're going to go to the topic. But you can expect more of the live streams around that topic, and I'm sure it's going to evolve as well, because the questions will show, and people will come with the certain, particular questions, like what do I do when, or what happens if, why do I feel this way, like what is wrong with me. Like nothing is wrong, but people think this way sometimes. So first of all, I wanted you to relax and just to try to think about the things I'm trying to talk to you, and take it in and see how it applies to your life as well, and what you can do to work around it. Hello to Australia. I really admire you got up early. I wouldn't get up so early. So Glenda, you are my hero. I'm just going to get my tea. And let's start with a small chat, okay? I will take the screen closer so I can see your answers. If you have something to say, I will just put it closer. You are so sweet, Glenda. So, when I talk to you ask you about the things that you would like to see in the live streams, or what kind of videos you are looking for, many times you come with the suggestions that you would like to see more information on how to find inspiration, how to control your creative process a little bit more, how to intentionally work with yourself towards expanding your creativity, making that more efficient, or maybe getting out of the box. Yes, holding ourselves away from being creative. And you are asking about what to do not to avoid repetition in your work, or what to do to just find the sparkle of creativity when you don't feel creative at all, because sometimes you don't, like after for example, after the holidays we don't feel too really creative, and this is kind of natural, and you have to give yourself this moment of credit. Like we all are like that. We are all like that. I'm too excited, and I'm talking too quickly. So I was trying to think through all that, and I found, first of all, it's a huge topic. It's very, very, if it was a lake, it would be very deep and very wide. So we can try to get into that lake just, a little bit, like first putting our toes in the water and see if it's cold or manageable, and then, hello Anna, and then try to go a little bit deeper and deeper. But it is going to be a little bit of the different work than some of you may expect, because this is not just exercising the techniques, trying new technique in your journal, or making collage in the new way. It is the whole mindset that is helping you to go through the creative process. And this mindset, it is something that you can naturally have already, because some people, they are quite well equipped when they start their creative life. Either they have this natural skill of finding inspiration and working with creativity, or they could be going through some kind of training in their life. For example, being educators or teachers, or maybe working with therapists, which is giving them the tools to tackle problems, for example, like lack of inspiration. and maybe they are just getting great experience working with their own kids or grandkids, and then somehow they can apply the same techniques they put on them on themselves. There are many of us that have huge bunch of tools and great equipment to already work with that problem, and some of us are naturally more open and more ready to jump into the deeper water right away. And some of us, not really. We have a lot of blocks, we have a lot of internal voices telling us something should be done certain way or not. A lot of expectations which are not necessarily ours. They can be coming from our parents in the past, or from our neighbors, from our friends. You know, peer pressure is a big thing. People get overwhelmed easily. So you may find a lot of these obstacles on your way when you are working with your creative part of life. And in a way, if you're going to take care of it, if you're going to go through that process with this credit that everything is going to be fine, it is just the journey that you are taking. This is not like you have to be in the destination right away. It may help you on many levels of your life. So as I'm saying, I'm not a therapist and I am not really educated artist, but I'm quite good in explaining things because I have the tendency to think through all the things that I make, and I analyze why the things happen, and I talk with the people a lot, and I was told I give quite good advice, and so maybe let's try. Okay, hello Debbie. So there are many ways of dealing with your creative blocks and dealing with all the problems that we find during creative life. For example, you may lose your confidence, or you will never develop this confidence. You just really want to do something, but you feel like this little scared rabbit, just putting the nose out of the hole and looking around and just going back all the time because you feel the world outside is dangerous. On the other hand, you have this amazing creative creature inside of you who wants to go out. So that is very hard mechanism that's pushing you out and dragging you in. This is not easy. Then you have a lot of moments when you will try to compare yourself to others. This is natural, what we do. We are human beings, and we really put a lot of pressure on ourselves just by looking that, oh, my neighbor has different color of the project while I'm having this one. And this is natural. We all do that, but it's good to have some tools which are going to go past that and still, push yourself to the creative process. Because one thing is to see that something is happening and get paralyzed, and the second thing is to see that something is happening inside of me, acknowledge it, accept it, and then do it anyway. Because the brave thing is to do the things even if you are scared, but try to do them anyway. And I want you to be brave, and I want you to trust yourself, because we all have this creativity in us and it just wants to be visible. There were questions about how to develop your personal style. And in this series, I'm going to show you something that happen when you create, that are like the roots of your creative style, the things that are unique to you, that you may recognize and you may use to grow your style naturally, right? This is something that we all get. The style we get by doing. Instead of thinking about it, we just do, we will see the elements of it. The more we do, the more we are going to find them. No worries, Cornelia, we are starting always a little bit later. Now I'm just talking about the general concept of this series we are going to do. What is important in all this creative process is we all have our own personalities toolboxes and ways, which means some of you may be great on some fields and not so great on others. So you will be dealing great with creative blocks, for example, but you won't have a lot of freedom and confidence. Like, you will not feel that you can do a lot. Other people will be terrible with the blocks because they have such construction that they really block themselves. But on the other hand, once they unblock, they're unstoppable. And we tackle these problems differently. We have different ways of working with our personalities. So the sets of ideas I'm going to show you in this and the next parts of that series, they're going to focus on different parts of the creativity, different ideas and different techniques of unblocking or expanding or recognizing. And I hope some of you will benefit from this information, and maybe you're going to benefit from it in a different way. I have to tell you something. I made some notes for myself, not to get lost, because this is a huge topic, but I will try not to be carried away, because I can talk about creativity for ages. So if you will have any questions, they're going to be very valuable for me as well, because they're going to give me feedback which topics I should cover first after this initial video we are making today. And this is going to help me to organize the my next plans and everything. But I would like you to try to think about the things you're going to hear and see today, and to check how they apply to you and how you can really incorporate them in your creative works. Today we're going to focus mostly on art journaling, because it is very close to the topic of creative mindfulness, and it is probably the most personal and the deepest form of creativity we usually do. Right? So Becky is struggling with finding the voice. You will see the voices there. You just have to accept it and find it, okay? Let it, you just let it out. So I'm going to use the example of art journaling, because this is something the most profound and the most, I would say, the closest to our personality, our inner voice as it can be. Potentially, of course. Not everybody is journaling this way, but it can be. I was trying to explain you before that when I create the project for myself, I do really I kind of art journal in every form of my art. When I make collage, especially the collage that have some meaning to me, there's always a story. My art journaling is not just raw emotion. I'm a visual storyteller, and my form of journaling is reflecting the stories that I want to let out. No matter what I'm doing, there's story happening in my project, especially the art journals and the collage projects. So art journaling is a good example because it has two main advantages. It doesn't have to be big and complicated, and it's very much raw creativity. Okay, so that's why today's examples will be from my journals. This is not applying just to creativity in journaling, it's creativity in general, but I'm going to show how I make a journal page in real life, and I will tell you what I'm thinking when I create it. And I'm going to show you different examples of journal pages that come from one root. They all come from one idea, and then they grew in different directions, and they started to be a great example of creative mindfulness. Okay? So let's start from the beginning, and please try to take it as maybe like art journey. Let's say I'm taking you on a journey through the way I think about creativity and how you can find inspiration. So some of you asked me why I don't really do a lot of journal pages. And I can give you an answer. And this is the real story that happened today. For me, journaling is very emotional. So that means when I start to make a journal page, my emotions get very intense and the things may get very raw, which means I focus very deeply on the things that I am picking for my journal or I'm trying to express in the journal. And these emotions may be hard to contain. So there was a moment today when I wasn't sure if I will be able to make a class for you because I got a little bit too deep for a moment. I started to hyperventilate. I started to just, shake inside. That happens to me when I have too many stories which want to be released. And I can't really focus on whatever I want to tell now. That is real story. This is how it happens. With other projects, it works a little bit differently. I am a little bit shifted towards visual side of it, towards making some explanation of the technique. Instead of on the story, I'm more focused on the visual side. So that is, no, don't be sorry. It's a natural process. This is how I create. If you could see me making some of the pages I will show you, I can tell you I was crying making them just because I was deeply in the story that I was showing. And that story was about, for example, my late grandma. That is just natural. So, I had to think about some of the concepts that will be easy to explain. So I started to go through my journal pages. I was looking for certain things. And then I started to feel like, boost of inspiration, I have to create now. Like I had the feeling, okay, I need to do something before the class with you because I will explode. And I made a mini project I will show you now in a moment. And that helped me to vent a little bit, focus, ground, and I'm ready to talk, right? That happens to me when I art journal. It is the most natural and raw version of creativity because it just flows out without any filter, almost. And I do it because I like to explore what is happening with me, and I like to try the new things. I like to focus on things, and I would like to show to myself this part of personality. One of you, I think it was Lanette, you said that you don't do a lot of journal pages because you don't want to share them, and this is normal. I share my journal pages because I have a lot of distance. And I can share the project, but people won't really know exactly what was happening behind it. So I can separate myself from it. But most of the times, people who are doing the art journaling will have a lot of secret journals or journal pages they never share with people, and they just do it for themselves. You don't have to share everything. This is not obligatory to share your art. You just do it when you are ready, or just keep it for yourself. Some of these pages are meaningful to me, but for you, you won't really see what is happening under the bottom level. Is this surface that you can see. So kind of I can share them easily because you will be inspired by the visual side of it instead of thinking, oh my God, she was probably depressed on that day. Look at that. What is it again? So it's absolutely normal. You can create just for yourself and just for the sake of exploring your creativity. So I will just read your comments because you're writing a lot. Yes, I'll never share it all. Exactly. Yes, the flow. Yes, you love beautiful things. Exactly. You are a visual person. Yes, it's nice to keep pages for yourself. Exactly. So I don't feel like I'm sharing with you something deeply personal, because I really have distance between this finally finished page and the process. And this is the essence of what I really. Yes, Becky. Becky is saying exactly what is. She's describing what was happening to me today. Getting overwhelmed with what I want to say. Usually it happens to me because I have so many things inside me that want to get out. They really want to be told. And that means there has to be a way like to channel them. So I try to channel them and just put them on the different shelves and try to pick one that is, the closest to the surface. Exactly. The strength, the feeling of control as well. So I just gave you that example with what happened today, and I will guide, in a way, I will take you for a tour on to show what it was happening, because I will make a page for you as well. So you will going to see how this process today put me in the place I am now. So I really have to put myself into the process to be ready to create for you. So this is what I did. I find that my pieces I make especially for about a personal flow or easier as they are personal. Exactly. Yeah, sometimes you have to say something, but you don't have any words. I rarely use words in my projects. I write on my mixed media art journal, so I think that helps. There are many ways of unlocking that creative process. But if you get overwhelmed, like I did, or Becky, you have to find this moment that you're going to just start with something and the story is going to happen. So this is the moment of trust. You have to have, in your own choice and personality, and that everything is going to be fine. Yes, exactly. About the challenges and products, we are going to talk a little bit more in the other as well. Now I want to explain the concept of creative mindfulness. I'm not sure how many people really heard that term before. Mindfulness as a term is more popular and getting its popularity in general slow life movement, when people focus more on everyday things and they pay more attention to the things that happen to them. So this is also going to apply to creativity as well in a beautiful way. Yeah, I will talk about that as well. Okay, Emily, don't worry. We're going to focus on that in the one of the next episodes. So, when it comes to creative mindfulness, it is going to be the process when we really stop for a moment and we focus on something that is going to grab our attention. And now try to focus yourself for a moment as well and imagine the moment when, for example, you go for a walk and you find beautiful piece of feather from, bird lost a feather and you found the feather. Oh, you pick it up, put it in your pocket because it started to sparkle your interest. You think, oh, I can put that feather into my project. Okay, this is the beginning. You go further, you find a flower. Oh, I can use that flower. I can press that flower. I can use it for some kind of creative. It's just beautiful. Then you come back home and you are reading a book. And during reading that book, you find a quote or one of the characters is especially interesting for you. And you start thinking about that person and you have that feeling, that emotion that is sparkling your curiosity about what is going to happen. And you have this kind of story building inside of you. You can put it into mental pocket, just like you did with the feather when you were walking, but somehow all this information stays inside of your head. Then, next example, you are in your studio or in your craft corner, and you are going through your desk and you find something that is really, really long ago, lost item that you were looking for. For example, you found that bird that you were looking for the last project and you couldn't find it because it was under the mat, but now it's in front of you and it's calling your name. All these little moments when this spark happens in your brain, it's a potential for the creative project. It's potential to start, and I know it sounds completely trivial, something too simple, but this is the essence of the creative mindfulness. When you have this spark happening in your brain, it may be color of paint, or it may be a page in the book. That is the moment when you should stop and take it either mentally or physically and put it in your creative pocket. It may be the pocket in the brain or pocket, visual pocket you have somewhere in front of you, and use it as a start of your next project. You take this out when you have a moment, you look at it from different angles, you examine and you check. For example, that may be something that brings you joy. Let's say people like chocolate, right? People love chocolate. This is an example which is good because it's a bit connected with the Christmas time. And now you got beautiful box of chocolates and they were absolutely delicious. And that box, after you finished all the chocolates, has pretty cool shape. You don't throw away that box of chocolate. You start to put it on the side as a future element of your project. Maybe it's going to be the base you're going to alter. But this is just the beginning. Thinking about those chocolates, you can magnify the effect. And you can take the box of this, the box that was the chocolate. Focus on your senses. Focus on what these chocolates bring into your life. And then the whole palette of possibilities opens in front of you. First, what was the color of the chocolate? What kind of taste they had and what colors or what kind of feelings they bring to you. So now, beginning of the creative process, take the box and use these feelings, these colors, to express the pleasure of eating the chocolate. This is a lovely way to start the project. One more thing on the top. Who gave you these chocolates? Maybe that was your sister, maybe that was your boyfriend, maybe that was your grandson. That's that special feeling. What you were feeling, yes, I know. What was the feeling when you were getting it? What do you feel towards that person now? How can you show that in the project you are doing with this box? What kind of emotion you can express creating it? Maybe you can take this box, alter it, repaint it, and give it back to that person as a gift to express what you feel. Okay? I know it sounds maybe for some of you crazy, but this is the best way to start from nothing to go to full done project. Okay? This is something that some of you needed to hear today. You can take a stone and turn it into art. Everything happens in your head. Okay? So, first thing that you may want to put as mental note, don't overlook and underestimate the moment of the spark in your brain. Okay? People usually have them many times and they just, put them somewhere behind. They don't think about it. But this is the moment of inspiration. It's not like lightning that is hitting you from above. It's a simple moment that happens in your life. And it's, this moment of spark that opens your eyes for a moment and you see something. You smell something, you hear something. All of that comes to you and you really see the nature of it. Here I wanted you to see the video I made 9 years ago. That was like the reference to the whole beginning of the creative mindfulness start. I was trying to explain in a visual way that inspiration is everywhere. And I was showing a lot of different things that I later put together in the finished project. So this is kind of illustration of the process I'm talking about now. Okay, if you've seen that video, it was the black and white I posted 2 days ago, when it's like, stop motion with the music. You will, if you watch it carefully, all the things that were happening in the beginning. So there was smell, touch, there was the dog, there was the time. All these elements were coming together in the final scrapbook page. And this is how the creative process can start for you. Okay? So the most important thing is stop yourself for a moment, see something, smell it, touch it, and really experience what is happening inside of you, because it is not like, oh, I have to make a project, I will move a little bit of papers. Yes, this is what is happening subconsciously with us. We do it, but we don't think about it. But when we buy new thing in the shop, we kind of give us the spark. When we get something from the flea market, we give us the spark subconsciously. I want you to do it consciously. I want you to find something, recognize the moment, oh my God, this is fun, and start to examine it, look at it, and see the possibilities of turning that moment, that idea, that shape, that smell into the project. Okay, so hold this thought for a moment. I have to check what you were asking. Yeah. Okay, so what will be the best element to pick? Something that is going to spark joy. You probably heard about Marie Kondo, who was helping people organize their life. And one of the questions she was asking when throwing away useless stuff is it sparking joy in your life, right? So if it sparks joy in your life, you don't throw it away. The same here. If it sparks joy in you or any kind of deeper emotion, it's a perfect project starter. Something that is going to push you towards the whole creative process. And the best way to work with it is to just give yourself maybe 10 minutes, put that thing in front of you, physically or mentally, and try to use your senses, examine, think about it, see what kind of sensations you're feeling and what you can do with them. Maybe there's a story that wants to be sold and you can write it down and use it as the beginning of the journal page. You can even paint over it later, but this is going to be like this thread going out of your head, going on the page. And once you start writing, sometimes it may be just mindless writing. It may be the whole beginning of the creative process. It's going to unblock. Maybe you look at this feather of the bird and you can see beautiful shape. You can draw it, you can stick it on your project, you can use the colors of that feather as your color palette for the project as well. I will show you what I did with this kind of ideas. Okay, exploring the topic is something that is very ongoing process. And I will show you examples and you will see how far you can go with one very mundane, very, very trivial topic if you really stick to it and you really are getting deep into that, and you can even make it part of your signature style. Okay? I think I was talking too much. I'm just trying to see if you are, getting what I'm trying to explain. Because this is the essence of the controlling of your creativity instead of just being taken through all the corners of the garden by the wind. You can intentionally pick the moment, like you were picking something that is trying to escape, hold it, look at it, and use it instead of being like the sleeve going from one corner to another. Because you are able to control the things that are happening to you, and you can just even put it on the side as a mental note for the future. Not all of them you're going to use, but these moments may be transformed into possible future projects. Okay? So now, let's look at the examples. I was telling you the senses, the options, the ideas. I picked some projects which are good examples of what happens if you use your senses and you focus and you really use that creative mindfulness technique. Okay? So I will put you now on the other angle so I can see the story happening on the table in front of you. I will start with small things, okay? Because the last one is the biggest. So, sorry. I hope you're not getting seasick. This is the table. And I will give you first example, okay? We are talking, okay, find something that is inspiring or something that is bringing you joy and put it as a mental note or put it in your creative pocket. Today I made this kind of creative pocket for myself so I can create a page for you. And before starting the class, I went through my supplies because I wanted to prepare, and I found the things that wanted to be used, things that wanted to be in front of me today. And one of them is a great example. This is my cat. It's an image. When you look for something that is sparking joy in your life, it doesn't have to be object you can glue on your page, because it will be impossible to glue your cat on the project. However, it's an example of something that surely is sparking joy in your life and may bring you a lot of wonderful inspiration, okay? And that may be your family member, that may be your favorite food, but that also may be your cat, right? How this cat may translate into the project. And first thing is, cat is fluffy. Cat has beautiful texture. When you touch the cat, there's this lovely softness, right? And that is one of the things you can focus on when you create the project. Of course, you could make a project which is going to be nice to touch, and you could use your cat as your inspiration. What I did, I worked a little bit differently. I took the colors of the photo with my cat and I turned that into the project. This is the same photo, just smaller. I looked carefully at the color of my cat's nose, the colors of the paws, colors of the face, and then I tried to find matching mica powders, which are soft in color, and then to create color palette based on my cat, right? It's a very simple example of creative mindfulness, but in a way, this is the most popular one of the one that you can really probably relate to. You did it in the past. You took a photo and you use it as an inspiration. But this is first step. You're just using colors, some pinks, some grays, some reds. You all put it together. The cat is sleeping, so there is this moon and stars. Kind of simple explanation how from the image of your cat that you probably love very much, you can go into this quite nice project with really nice color palette, having a lot of this natural fluffiness, okay? But cat is also texture, it's the sound, it is the moments of playfulness. You can use that, this emotion to give you fuel to create the project that is going to reflect this joy that you have into something creative. If you're going to think about your cat during the creative process, most likely you're going to create more accurate image of your pet or your family member, or maybe your favorite taste, favorite flavor of ice cream as well. This is a very good example of the creative mindfulness. Okay. The other example is even more funny. Okay. This is even more funny. I found I found inspiration for making this page. And this page is one of my old scrapbook pages. It is very, very simple. But when I will show you what is the inspiration for it, you're going to probably flip out. It is just completely funny. What I wanted to reflect in this project was kind of this fluffiness. This is an important element. The color combination and the original objects that inspired me. They were my blankets. I have blankets which are done here in Ireland. It's Avoca. And many times I visited the woolen mills when they create these beautiful handmade blankets. This place and this visit is absolutely blowing your mind away if you're an artist, because the color palettes are amazing. The combinations of color you're going to see, the softness of the yarn, the effects they create by just displaying them next to each other is absolutely something out of this world. Okay, so what I did after that, I came back home and I made 3 projects when I was trying to play with the idea of this checked pattern that happens on almost every blanket. And I was trying to experiment, how can I incorporate the checked pattern into my page? I was using my Distress ink pads to press on the wet paper to create these checked patterns and to magnify the effect of this fluffiness and this blanket idea. I added some yarn, which is here on this project. When you look at this, you don't think about the blanket, because this is my way of thinking. This is my starting point. But in the end, I finished with quite cool and striking composition that was in fact inspired by the visit in the woolen mills in Avoca. So this is an example of good mindful moment, looking at your blanket or pillow. You know, it is something that is usually overlooked nearby. It may be the color of somebody's outfit. It may be your favorite pair of socks. It may be your flavor of tea that you like the most. Something that is going to stop you for a moment, and you are consciously going to recognize it, explore it, and think what you can do. With this idea, which is completely crazy in a way and very out of the creative zone, I made 3 different projects. I could do much more because I started to experiment with different color combinations, and I started to explore different setups of this project, and I could make easily probably next 6 or 7 compositions based on the checked pattern idea, and every single one would be different. You can see where I'm coming from. This is direct translation of inspiration that I just got by looking at beautiful display and turning that into creative project that is kind of grungy but also kind of fun and colorful. Okay, so now this is the biggest topic, and you probably know what I'm going to talk about. The biggest inspiration I have, and this was it all started by again the moment when I really realized what is one of my biggest everyday pleasures. I started exploring the topic of tea. Yeah, this topic of tea is with me for good 7 or 10 years, 7 years now. And I keep using tea as element of my art. And this is the moment when you can turn one of your creative elements into element of your signature style. And this happens naturally. You don't plan it. You just see that you play with this element more and more, and then that is turning into signature element of your art. Glenda asking, before you make project, do you sketch out first and add a new ideas to the sketch before you start? No, I very rarely make sketches. I only make them when I have the idea and I can't create right now, so I can sketch them quickly so I won't forget. And I usually sketch only the big, very complicated projects such as large collage. All the other ones, I'm quite good with visual memory. I'm not having photographic memory, but very good visual memory, and I can create easily. So I have them in my head. So we're here, we're exploring the topic, and I will show you how it all started. I have tons of journals which are exploring the topic of the tea. Okay? I drink tea, I don't drink coffee. I love tea, black tea is my favorite, and I really enjoy the drinking process because it's calming, it's relaxing. And that is the first page I made when I was thinking about what is important for me in my everyday life. I think it was kind of a challenge we had, example. It all started with this page. I just used a photo of my teacup, nothing special. Then I used the splatters of tea on my project. This is quite cool. I added a little bit of elements and I added the text 8 teacups per day. I usually drink 8 or 10 cups of tea per day. And that is the very beginning of the story. It's nothing. It's just a journal page, and it was just reflection of the, this moment when I was asked about it. It's very simple. It was probably very beginning of my story. But then I started to think, well, what can I do about this tea, which is, every day on my table? I started to think, okay, you can use it as paint, but what else you can do? And then pages started to happen. I started to collect the tea labels. It was all started by one of the companies, Lipton, selling the tea bags with the tag that had some trivia on the other side. So I was starting to collect these trivia tags, and I had a big box of them. And then I started using them to create pages with the grid. So soon you can see from just gluing that, I started to cut them, change them, and add some extra elements, because in the process of gluing, the creativity started to kick in. Very simple thing that happened during this gluing process. It's a very early page I made, but it's reflection on exploring the everyday element that happened in my life. Next. Tea bags. There are square tea bags and there are round tea bags. These are round tea bags, and I use them again in the idea of the grid, but this time I went one step further, and they're real tea bags with real tea inside instead of the labels. So I was trying to exercise, can I use the real tea bag on the journal page and turn it into work of art? I love the shape and the repetition. And I was showing you that page when we were talking about rhythm. And I quickly noticed there is this visible rhythm of the tea bags. There is kind of a grid, so I have to make some kind of the points that are going to take your eyes through the creative way. So you start here and you go to that point. That is another example of exploring the tea bag and the tea art topic. Okay? And that was it's in the same journal, so it had to be done somewhere after this. But I didn't stop there. I went to project when my only color I used was the tea bag color, so the art. And there's tea bag used as a part of the composition. And this was basically the moment when I got completely hooked. And now I keep using tea in my projects until now. And today I'm going to show you how it works for me. Still, I can still do it, and I can still find joy in creating with tea. So there's a tea bag here, and then the only color except black ink and a little bit of this green thing, this is just tea. Another one, abstract. Tea bags on one side and tea bags on the other side with a bit of crackle, exploring how these repeating shapes can turn into something else. Another thing that I was exploring at that time, it was kind of freehand stitching. Yeah, the scrapbooking papers I made for 7 Dot Studios, Caroline says, they were exactly tea bags. That was a page which was based on the tea bags, and that was playing with that concept as well. So you can also incorporate that into graphic designing if you want to. Okay? Are you with me? Can you see what happened in my head just by drinking this liquid every day? But this is beginning of the story. After that, I said, well, if I can do it as a journal page, maybe I can do it as a journal cover. And this is how I made my tea bag journal. Okay? They have a cool brain. So I was thinking, what I have to do to the cover so my tea bags are not going to rip and they're not going to be damaged. So not just painting them in a cool way, I had to create the composition that is going to hold it. So I was, of course, looking at the pattern, at the colors, but also on the proper amount of layers that is going to help me preserve that as a journal cover. And after probably 8 or 7 years, you can still see it's in good shape. So yeah, wine, very good topic. You know what you can do with the wine bottles and the wine labels and the color of the wine? It's beautiful. So I made some practice, and I figured that many layers of the soft gel or many layers of the gel medium are going to be very good sealer. And this is how I developed this look, by layering gel and paint to get that depth and this kind of dramatic look, right? So this was another step. More of the labels. This time I didn't like it so much. Another page where I'm using tea bags as the part of the composition. And in fact, on one side, this is the pressed tea bag, and these are the parts of the tea bag used. And this is something that I really like, old text and images, quite old paper, something that is basically part of my journaling style. Christmas page, but still using the tea. Of course, there are no tea bags, but there is tea label, tea tag, and there are splatters of the tea on the project as well. I was going this way. I was not stopping, because why should I? Right? Whiskey. Yeah, you can be whiskey. A little bit more grungy page. There are no other tea elements except the color, but I discovered this complete and profound love for the tea color and the elements of the tea bags as well in the background. They were repeating for me for many months, if not years. Once I found it, it was coming back naturally, and I was able to use it in many configurations. And it all started with the idea of using tea labels and making this one page. Then, this is the page that I've done when I was traveling. I was stuck in Paris, and I really couldn't go back home because of the strike. And I was sitting in my friend's home. She was the one who organized the classes. I didn't really have a lot of supplies, which is not a problem when you are journaling. She gave me some leftovers she had.
She gave me some stamps, she gave me some doilies, and just sitting there and, trying to process all that, I made a journal page. And again, the only color that was included, it was the tea stain that I made. And I have here on my table. How many journals do I have? It's another topic because I feel this is important now to tell you that I have journals for different purposes. And in a way, this is kind of this mindful creative, like a creative mindfulness practice as well. I have journals for different purposes. So I will have probably about 20 journals. And some of them are already finished and some of them are still in progress. And this page is another take on the labels of the tea, just use as a background. You don't really see the text on them anymore, but you use that grid pattern as a part of your composition. It just happened again, probably 5 years later. And this is how it works. So just for a moment, before I will show you more, I will tell you a little bit more on the journals and what I think is going to work. So this was an example. Oops, sorry, this is very crooked. So this was an example of the mindful moment of finding something that's sparkling my creativity, and then intentional exploration of the topic. And it didn't happen right away. I did one or two things. I started to think about it, put it on the side, and come back and do it again and again and again. And this way, in a way, this neutral brown color, as one of you mentioned, started to be one of the natural elements of my creative style. I use it so often that it is one of the most recognizable things that I have in my journal pages, because it's just natural form of expression for me now. So I can say that using tea as a color is one of my signature style elements. Okay, yeah, whiskey will work too, of course. So this is an example how one thing can take you quite far, and you can explore different options, right? You can start simply by looking at object and say, I love these colors, I love how it works. Try to memorize it, put it into your mental pocket, and bring these colors on your table, start playing with them, and try to see where it's going to take you. And go further than just one project. Do it many times. Sorry. Another example I want to show you, and this is very important with the creative mindfulness, it should be baby steps. Because what we want to do is to play and explore instead of going fully into that deep lake that we have in front of us. We want to put the toes first. So we want to try and see what is going to happen. So instead of going bold and going crazy and thinking, yeah, I love tigers, so I'm going to make full-size portrait of the tiger right away, it's not going to work this way. Try to go small steps. Pick colors that you think are going to go with the tiger. Maybe pick up some textures which are going to represent the tiger, right? Maybe think about the feelings that you have towards that animal. Small baby steps. What I think is one of the biggest creative block sources for people is that they want to create huge, mind-blowing art right away. And I know it may be disappointing for many of you, but it's really not happening in real life that you will create masterpiece right away without any warm-up. And I think some people, they expect that there's hack for everything. You know, if there's hack for making chicken soup and there's quick hack for fixing your broken mug, hacks don't work in art except the moments when you have to, for example, push yourself to work, or find new ways to get out of your box. This is there are hacks, but there's no hack to make artist out of the person that never had scissors or brush in their hand. There's natural talent, but still they have to be able to practice a little bit before they're going to make something we can consider to be finished project and art. And what you see and what you experience, and I have to underline that many times, you see effects of work of people who are already on at least intermediate or advanced level. So what happens? They practiced a lot before you were able to see their work. And in a way, when you stop creating for some time, it's like your muscles are going lazy. They are not able to jump out of this laziness right away. They need the warm up. It's the same as physical exercise. You have to do small things and small steps to feel your muscles again. It's like to make friends with your fingers and your brain, your creative side of your brain again, to really jump on something bigger. There are some exceptions. Sometimes people don't create art physically, but they do it kind of mentally in the meantime, because they are not able, for example, they are traveling and they have no art supplies, but in their head, they keep creating, they make projects in their head, so they're not getting out of the balance completely. They are somehow still in this creative roundabout. It's like, yeah, project, I keep thinking. So this is not exactly the same thing. Then you have a bit of that warm-up done already, so it's easier for you to jump on it. But if you took a break for some whatever reason and you were not really thinking about creating and you were not really doing anything, you need small steps to get out of that stiffness. Okay? So what I want you to see now is an example, and I'm not ashamed to show it to people. They're examples of the very small projects which are baby steps, and they're great examples of this creative mindfulness. When you pick something, it sparks your creativity and you just create something small but still valuable for many reasons. It is valuable because it's a reflection of your feelings. It's valuable because it is your warm-up. It's valuable because it starts the creative process in your head. It's valuable because it may be simply pretty, but it's not going to be huge, mind-blowing masterpiece, and it's absolutely okay. You can't make masterpiece if you don't make sketches, right? If you think about creative life of an artist, let's say Rembrandt or Van Gogh, on whoever the person, most of the creative life of these people goes into boring and repetitive exercises of sketching things, getting ideas, scribbling on the small pieces of paper, in the restaurant on the table sometimes, because they exercise, they think, and they challenge their brain, and they gather the ideas. They really have this creative process going. Yeah, French artist. So this is the moment when they either exercise the brain or they have a chance to use their hands to create art. And then after this warm-up, after this preparation, you can go and create a masterpiece, because masterpiece is as the name says, is the work of the master. Somebody who achieved the level that is already far, far beyond the others. So exactly. Picasso painted thousands of palm trees. This is how it works. You don't see that boring part. You only see that beautiful and recognized part. So you can think about your journal if you if you want to have that as a part of your creative process, as your sketches, as your warm-up, as your laziness getting out of your muscles. This is the place where you can just play and warm up and exercise, and you don't have to share it. If you want to have a journal which is expressing your feelings, make one book for that. Take another book for your creative exercises. Take the next book maybe for some inspirational project that is going to be like ongoing journal pages focused on something. There's no limit on how many books you want to have. You may have tens of them, okay? So I will show you very simple thing I did. When I travel and I'm away from home for longer than a week, I take my journaling supplies, and they are very, very limited. Usually it's gesso, crayons, gel medium, so I can stick something, and some paper and some other things. And I bought a book when I was going to Greece, to Santorini, because I knew I will be sightseeing and I will be having some free time as well, and I knew I want to journal. And this turned into my creative mindfulness exercise when I was just simply relaxing during the travel. Okay. Oh, I can talk a lot, I'm sorry. I went to the local bookshop, and I found it's called Atlantis Books, and I found this journal. I even have summer 2018, and it's the text here says, "Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time." I added that, and then I started making these mini journal pages. Okay, this was the first one I did. And you can see I was surrounded by blue color of the roofs of the Santorini and the blue color of the sky. And I only used leftovers of the paper, images, and a tiny bit of gesso, blue pen, and that was the finished journal page. And I was absolutely satisfied for that day. And now what is one of the things that I would like to mention here? I don't think this kind of art is something that we should be ashamed of. It's just small, and it doesn't have to be always big, elaborate project. If you make something like that, it means you are exercising. It means that you are going towards your creativity and you're playing with the idea. And some people ask me why I always use so many images in my projects. It's like, I think these people have stories, and I want to say, I want to be the voice of these people. So it's not like I see dead people. I would say dead people see me, and they want me to tell the stories in a visual way. Okay? So when I use images of the people, I pick the ones that I believe have some kind of story to say, and I try to give them the voice in a visual way. So there's another one, very basic, but I love what happened here with the colors. And the tea, of course, because I was drinking tea. And I didn't have to have a heat gun. In Santorini, it's very hot. And I continued. I just had very limited supplies, but there's dry flower that I found near the swimming pool. Very beautiful. And then there are olive tree leaves here I dried for this project. And I really think that is a quite cool element. And I was playing with that concept a lot. This is done, so yeah, pictures are very strong focal points, but for me they're the stories of the people I want to say. So these girls looked a little bit worried to me, so I was using dust thread to go around them to show they're together, and the text says brave one, which means this is the one which is scared and this is the one that is brave, and giving her energy to her sister, maybe. They're impressions that happened in my head when I looked at the picture. Yeah? And this one says, "You are here for me." And the girl looking straight into your face, saying that. And beautiful colors that happened because of the different textures fabric and another dry flower. This is an example of journal which is very limited in products used, but it's like storytelling. And what is also important in a project like that, it starts to make sense when it works as a whole book as well. It's like the stories of the people told in natural vintage colors with very simple set of supplies. But I think they may have quite a lot of impact. This text says, "Now we are here." And this is one of my favorite pages. Some people say it's scary. It is not scary to me, but it's a little bit disturbing. And I found the text here, "hardened edge," and I wanted to make that really visible. I was absolutely inspired by the piece of paper where the elements, the parts were taken out. And I decided to combine that with the image of the girl. And you can see her eyes were not really happy ones. There was something happening inside. I took part of the letter that could be some message that she wanted to give. It could be some kind of letter she received. The word here says "my love" in Polish. So that may be kind of dramatic story. You can see how deeply I went with the pen here. Like she was frustrated. She was trying to explain, express something. And of course, I used the razor blade. So some people are saying, "Oh, yeah, they didn't see that as beautiful. They were seeing that as disturbing." And it's absolutely okay. It's my journal page, but from this book is one of my favorites because it's telling the story in a way. Yeah, a bit of darkness. We all have brighter and darker side inside of us. And some people, they just need to express that darker side as well. Exactly. You have to process. And here, I can tell you, the beginning was that piece of paper here, which was part of an old book. And somebody drew this little person here with a pencil. And I really wanted to include that in my project. And that was the obligatory element I wanted to put in this project. And the girl's eyes were kind of like, she is looking at you kind of smiling and seriously at the same time. And you can say, "Oh, yeah, I'm a little bit cheeky." And I wanted to show that feeling in the project as well. The text here says everything, like, anyway. And I'm really happy that this precious piece of olden paper is really clearly visible. So that is, mischief. So that is exactly what is happening here on that page for me. And this one is more fun and bright and positive. A lot of golden, shiny elements. And this one, a little bit flirty. And the text says, "but I still have hope." And you start to think, what is this girl talking about? What may be happening? This is how I work with images of people. I try to show the story they would like to tell us. Yeah, sassy, that's the look. So this is an example of the mindful exercise. Picking the flowers on Santorini, using whatever I had in my hands, and going with that as a creative exercise and unlocking different ideas that we have in our head. And another traveling journal is this one. I made some pages. This one I made in Russia. I learned that from one of the girls who were in Russia, and I really wanted to try. Yes, the words I cut out from the old novels. I will show you my resources now. This is another one that is rather personal, and I just exercise here with different techniques, different ideas. This is very new thing for me. A lot of shiny stuff. Another one. And again, my signature thing, closing the eyes of the person or closing the mouth of the person. I do it quite often. I did a lot of exercises here. So this is more like playing, but also portable. So I was taking that with me when I was traveling. Yeah, the images of the South African sky. I am not watercolor artist, but I was playing with watercolors. And another one, very simple. You can see I use letters to really just be part of the design. So I don't really have any special way of, writing down the information. I just use it as another part of the composition. And this is how I start my pages. They are just waiting for me to finish. Yeah, but I don't really like filling the whole page. This is not me. I don't feel like the whole page. I can do it sometimes, but I don't really like it. Yeah, I can, but it's not my natural way. So, how can you work with this concept? And this is part of your homework as well. It's this, create your happy pocket. To look around you and create the pocket. And I will show you what was happening before the class, okay? I told you that I got overwhelmed and I was feeling that I really need to do something because it's going to suffocate me. Because I was going through a lot of pages in my journals, looking for the ones with the tea bags. And I really have a lot of journals, yeah. And I started to look for the supplies that sparkle my joy. So things that I would like to use today if I want to create something for you to show you how you can work with these ideas. So I grabbed a little bit of lace, and I have a little bit more lace here, and I put it into my pocket. That is going to be preparation. I took something that sparks my joy profoundly. These, yeah, my cup of tea as well. So these are the resistors, old resistors. I went through the images of different kinds, and I was trying to pick the ones that I'm going to work with, and I took some of the vintage ones, and I love how this girl's sitting here, and I love that the part of this head is missing, and I love these people here. I was going through all these things, and every time when I felt something, I was putting that image on the side, okay? And I was just going. This is the photo from the video that I was showing you 2 or 3 days ago, and it's one of the photos I used to make that video, and I use it. You still use these images for my projects from time to time. I picked people who I feel today they wanted to tell me the story, and then some papers which really wanted to be used. Right? So I started to gather the elements in my pocket. Let's say this is the pocket for today. And of course, I'm not going to say, okay, today we are going to, I just found a new thing that was going to sparkle the joy. No, I will go with the idea of the tea, but I'm going to include other things which are my favorite things into that project as well. I've picked 2 stencils. The ones they feel are good for today. This is my pocket. And then, this is what happened. This could be my journaling pouch when I was traveling. I found some packages of embellishments. You know, they're color coordinating and there's a lot of different elements and there's texts already. Sometimes they're quite cool as a starting part of your project. So why not? I took tapes. I absolutely love tapes. Masking tape and fabric tape. I found this kind of thingy, which I'm going to use as well. A lot of paper leftovers. And yeah, it is pocket like the basket challenge, but it is just, sparkling the joy and attracting your attention. And I had one thing on my mind before I started, and it's in this box. And they are my tea bags. I started drying tea bags a few months ago, thinking I will need more in my life for some reason. And today, when I was talking about this mindful experience in creativity, I was thinking this is the right moment to put them into into proper use. So I have them here. Some of them are empty, some of them are filled with tea, and they're going to be used in my project, of course. Some very old medical plaster. Don't ask me for where I get it. I just have it. Old tickets. And when I touch these old, now another confession. When I touch these old pieces of paper, this is ticket to visit the botanical garden in Warsaw, very old. I start to feel the flow of emotion. These old papers, old books, they give me like this boost of energy. This is for playing cards. And this gives me the push to use them for creativity. I feel like, okay, this is something which is my comfort zone, something that wants to be used. Old pages from the books. And this is exactly the source of the words that you were asking about. This is something that I use for my creativity. Look at that page. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. And more of the paper leftovers, some of the die cuts. Nobody knows where is it coming from. Oh, this is not even supposed to be here. I found these. This paper from old book, absolutely beautiful. It just all started to jump on me and say, use me, take me, I want to be used. And I started to feel so much of the emotions and so much of this creative energy that I couldn't stop myself. I had to do something. And I decided to just go with the flow and release a little bit of that energy before I'm going to start. Because it was simply suffocating. And look at these. They just wanted to go. I needed to tell even a short story before I will be able to talk to you and explain the whole process, because I would probably just get stuck in the middle of the explaining, overwhelmed with the things I would like to say. So you are going to see everything, and then in the end I will explain what is the homework. Okay, Glinda? Gabi, sorry. Okay, and so one of the things that demanded to be used today is the old roadmap. And this map is showing the place I lived in Warsaw. I basically lived here, but this part of the map is missing. But this part is the place where I went to my high school. And it really wanted to be used today. So I will have to use part of that city map as part of the project I'm going to make in front of you today. It's just the spark. It wants, it is needed. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I have one idea, but it wants to be used. So then you ask how I get the text. Sometime I will take a page from the book and I will start cutting the words or expressions that seem to be interesting. Here is, she was dying 1,000 times. Like, in emotional way, of course. Not like she was really dying, but it is very dramatic. And this one is neck and shoulders. And some of them, they're so abstract that even just the text is sparkling your creativity. The pattern of 3 elemental song. I have no idea, but it's good text. The urges which are not possible to explain. So sometimes when you need a text, you just open a box like that and you find something and everything comes together. So before I was ready to create for you, sorry, one more. If you want to use elements which are more dimensional, you can have a creative box that sparks your happiness and your creativity, and you can keep the best of the best of the best items you would like to include in your project in this kind of box as well. So you can refill it constantly, of course, but this is kind of a solution when you would like to help your creative process to focus a little bit. And this is like the dimensional version of what I was showing you before, the pocket. No worries. You don't really have to define what is your signature. We are going to work on signature things later. Now we're just focusing on sparking joy. So when I was working on the sparking joy part, I found this. This is what I bought in Japan. This is like a mini book. It even still has the price tag inside, which I'm going to reuse for something. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I should not touch it. And to just release a little bit of that energy, I made this little page. And I used my tea, I used the image, I used the dry flower that I collected in my garden before, and I pressed it. And just by this small act of art, I helped myself to release a bit of this block that I was accumulating in me for the last 3 weeks. When I went through all, you just have to see what happened to me. I started preparing the sketch in my head on what I want to tell you about this little, moments of happiness, remembering the emotions, focusing on the senses, focusing on what we think. And I went so deep into touching these papers, into looking at the photos and thinking about the stories that somewhere are waiting to be told, that they all started to resurface and they all wanted to come out now. I just went deeply, and because it was happening so quickly, I couldn't really focus on all of them. I just had to do some choices because I needed to focus on what I want to tell you. I had to find an outlet. How can I release a little bit of that pressure? Okay, so what I did, I quickly went through these best of the best photos. I focused for a moment. I picked the girl that looks a little bit like this actress, Maggie Smith. I think that's her face. And I picked the flower that was going nicely with the background color that I had. I was just giving her the voice. She wanted to be, in this project. She wanted to be visible again. And I did this mini journal page in literally 25 minutes. And I released a lot of this block that I had in me. So now, once I'm with you and I'm explaining all the things, I'm much more relaxed and I'm able to explain the whole process. I used the paper that I had in this book, and I really wanted to change it into something special. I really wanted to include tea bags, so I have my tea bag strips here. I used my favorite masking tapes, and quickly I put it all together and I just released, like, poof. It was like a deeper breath I needed before I can go and do something under pressure. Because no matter how much I love you, creating and talking to you creates some kind of pressure that goes on my shoulders. So I can't just focus on, creating and being happy. I have to be on the spot. So to avoid the block, I made the warm up. Okay? So let's look at the reality now. Let's say I would like to tell a story. I would like to show you how I work in the journal and how my things come together. So I will give you some comments on the go, and I will make a simple journal page for you. Is that all right? If you have any questions before I start, that will be a good moment. Because once I will start, I will focus on the project and I may lose the plot. Okay? I'm managing everything. I'm trying to be under control. And I really think that a lot of creative things through. I talk a lot about creativity with people, and that helps me explain some of the things a little bit better to the people because I have it already somehow organized in my head. Okay? Okay. So we are focusing on telling the story. I want to say something about me in this page. I want to show you part of my personality, and I want to express the feelings I felt today when I was going through all these old papers and the images that I had in my head. How long will you keep these things in your pocket? Usually for weeks. Until I will just replace them from time to time, or when I go through them and I don't feel anything, I throw them away and I start refilling again. I usually use these pockets when I travel. So this is something that I can just refill before the next travel, or once I will feel I want to do more of the art journaling, for example, or some project that's going to be my warm up, I will go through them quickly. If I will feel like something is missing, the flavor here is missing, I will do some swaps and then I will start again. But usually I will be using the same setup for 2-3 times before I will be changing it. Okay? Because sometimes you just change completely the feeling. Like today you are in this warm and fuzzy side of you, and you are an absolutely mental and crazy side of you 3 weeks later because everything is pissing you off and you just want to release that angry energy, and the fluffy cat is not going to help, right? So then you refill it with something else. So first thing I realized when I was going through all this and I was getting to create for you, I realized I want to come back to my tea bag and tea inspired pages. I need to do it again to see where it's going to take me. I want to use the tea bags, and that's why I prepared this box where I have these empty and full tea bags in front of me. And then I realized I need a separate book for that. And this is the answer on how many books do you have? Many. I need separate books so I can work on the tea bag pages only in this journal, and it will be going for months or for years, depending when I will feel I want to make a journal which is dedicated to tea or the tea bag. Just like I have this one, which is dedicated to short stories with dry pressed flowers, right? Or very simple elements. Or I have a journal which is dedicated to my old family photos. I just have mindful books they are focusing me on that topic. So this book, which is completely new, no content, is going to be focusing me on the tea. So I can focus on something that is going to be my element, something that I would like to do. It may be your book, for example, if you like that concept, when you're going to explore the possibilities of watercolor crayons or a new brand of acrylic paints you just discovered, and you're only using these acrylic paints in that book, and you want to see what happens. Okay? I can work inside of the book or outside of the book. So I know I want to show part of my personality. I want to use tea or the tea bags. I want to include the part of the map. But to make myself feel comfortable, I need to start with some texture and some brown paper, because brown paper was screaming my name and asking me to be used. And because this is story, and now I'm showing you my way of thinking, because this is part of me that was living in Warsaw, I'm going to pick the paper that has the text in Polish. It's part of a novel, I think. And this is going to be my background paper. It's a little bit too big, so I'm going to make it smaller. How often go you? Not often. I usually look through my books when I need to find something to show you. Yeah. Theme per book is very good idea. I just made the paper smaller because it was too big. This is paper in Polish. So I will start with that. Any glue. I'm going to use just glue stick to start. Yes, if you have one book, you're getting distracted. If you have many books, you can work on one topic in one book, and you can just change the books whenever you feel like. That's why I have so many. And I have them in different sizes, and some of them are white paper, and some of them are junk journals. So depending what I want to do and how I feel, I change the book. But what is the most important? Listen to yourself and follow the spark. So do whatever makes you happy. Today I felt I want to have this tea bag book again. It doesn't even have to have the tea bag cover, but it is the book that is going to contain stories, including tea color or tea elements or some things with the tea, because I think it's the right time, and I don't fight with my intuition. If my art intuition tells me to make a page with the tea, I will do it. So today we were touching a lot of different things because we are starting, but I will refocus you on the homework once I will finish the journal page. So if you are not watching the whole live stream because it's too long, if you'd like to work with this creative mindfulness exercise, please make sure to come back for the end of the live stream later to see what is exactly the instruction for your homework for this month, okay? Because that will be important. Yes, for me, the language of the book I'm using has the importance now because it sticks in my head with the moment when I was living in that part of the world. So this is like my life in Poland. And the photo I am going to use of myself, it's going to be me sitting on my balcony in my apartment as well. So it's kind of bringing me all together to that memory and the person I was then and the person I am now. So this is the image I'm going to use. And it's going to go on that side, just kind of just compositional thing. And I want to cut out that out of the person. So any of the ideas that you have For example, something is telling you, yeah, I should use the book in Polish language because I was in Poland then, is the idea you can chase and use to make your choices easier. If you don't know what to use, trust your intuition. This is your intuition speaking. I just do it because I feel for this project it is the right thing. If I have language in Polish, English, French, Swedish, and other languages, the one I want to use now for this, for today, it is going to be Polish. And that is going to be part of that project, and that makes sense to me in a way. So I'm going to ground it all a little bit with a bit of the tape, so I'm not going to flow in the air. I will just start some composition just going to give me some texture to support the person which is going to sit here, and something for good measure on the other side as well. Now this is just playing with the textures, preparing the surface to work on. Not really any special meaning yet. This is just like preparing the background, which is not going to be too flat and too white. Playing with the things that make me happy. I love tapes, so I'm going to include tapes. Let's see what else we have here in this stash of paper that I could stick. Oh, this I can stick. Oh, this is beautiful. I got it from my friend. This is handwriting of her mother. And this is part of the old label. And I really know this old medical plaster wants to be used. See, this is how I use the paper from the books. And this is what inspired me for one of the journal pages. That looks like that. And I kept it because these spaces, empty spaces, are really inspirational. Very nice old label. Also, strips like that, leftovers. But I keep these leftovers because they are perfect starting of a page. So look at this guy. His face is so unimpressed. This may be a great starter. One time you will look at him and you will have the whole project coming together in your head. You know, I found this plaster on the flea market, and I'm sure this is not possible to use anymore because it's very old. It was probably some kind of plaster that should be relief for the pain in your back because it has this black like medicine layer on the back of it. That's what I would think it is, but I am not 100% sure. So I wouldn't try it. I will just use it as a part of a project. So playing with the textures. I can see how much space I have. I have some. So heavy body gel is too thick. I'm going to take something lighter. 3D gloss gel, for example. I'm not really doing too much yet. I'm just preparing some things. They're going to give me the volume. I want to keep the prettier and more interesting elements for the top because I want to remove part of this color I can see here. And I quite often use one half on one part of the page and the other half on the other side of the page to make like the feeling of continuity sometimes. This is binding the two pages together. I think it is for the pain in the muscles. But why not? It was on my way. Apparently, it wanted to be used today, so it's going to be incorporated in this very informative and inspiring video for you. Apparently, this was the day. I take these photos of the table so they are not getting damaged. Okay, very basic layers. Let's add a little bit more of the random paper. Let's see what we have here. You're getting emotional. It's me too. Something with a nice shape. Oh, nice, quite nice pockets. Sorry, tokens. Too big. Now I'm going to take some gesso and I'm going to remove most of the color so it does look a little bit lighter. I would like to have a little bit whitewash start. I'm taking white gesso. If you put thin coat of gesso, it's not going to take away all the details. It's just going to whitewash it. So it's going to be lighter. And you don't have to paint everything. You can leave some of the parts of the paper more brown. Some parts of the paper can be just white. I want to be able to see this text through the gesso because it has the meaning in the whole story for me, right? Look how beautifully this ink is bleeding because of the wet brush, just by accident. Ah! Don't stick, don't stick, wait, don't stick. Sorry. Now I will dry it and I will think what I want to say. I'm going to take this darker one, but I need to open it to remove the tea. I'll be quiet for a moment and then I'll tell you what happened, okay? So you can just relax, and if you have any things you would like to discuss with each other, you can use that time for it. They're too blunt. Okay, so in the meantime, what I'm doing, I'm creating layers that are going to be visible now. And the main thing that I wanted to include is this tea bag, which is representing a little bit of my everyday life and something that is giving me the inspiration and something that I really feel is part of me now. And many people who know me, they know that my life without tea would be very miserable. So I try to make sure this is going to be visible, and I use part on one side, part for other for good balance. And I'm looking for elements that are going to add some visual texture, and they're going to add this a little bit cheeky and sassy feeling, because I can see in my eyes here I'm quite I'm quite in this kind of adventurous mode, and it's like it's one big journey, and I want to take you on the journey and I want you to enjoy it. So we are having this creative adventure together. So I'm going through the things that, yeah, bliss. It doesn't look like bliss at all to me. So I have to find things. Dream, maybe. Not too good. What do they have got here? Love. Oh, there's a bird. Oh, this bird that I found could be sitting on that side. And it's looking at me like, ah, what is she up to? What is she up to today? Exactly, the bird fits well. And sometimes it's just exactly what I do with the collage projects. It's like auditioning of the elements to see what they are going to do for me and if it's something that I want to include or not. Today, when I was going through these papers, I had the feeling of like this creative flow coming. It is usually connected with a lot of creative power. So in a way, I want part of that power, which is gentle but stubborn power, to be visible in this project. So I will try to find elements that are going to show it, the colors, the elements that are going to show this creative movement that happened in me. Cherished, no. I won't forget my map, no worries. It is still happening. It is still a thing, but I'm quite far from the top layer. I feel it is not the end. Yeah. I can see you're discussing very interesting things, so I'll have to have a look. So you can see I'm grounding the person. I'm trying to add elements for her to feel like she's sitting on some kind of background instead of hanging in the air. And I will need to stick something here, but now I feel I need to add thread. Where is the white thread? Here. The white thread is quite often happening in my pages. And that is the something that is representing complicated situation or people bonded together or some kind of mess or some kind of bundle of energy that is happening. And that is going to happen here. As well. It's showing the kind of complicated emotional situation and also how different that time was and what I felt in that time. Punch, because I want to use it with the map. And I'm going to use the part of the map where my high school is, because I think this is the best option for me. But because it's very bendy, and I would like that to be a little bit more supported, I will put it on a piece of cardboard. So maybe I will stick it on the cardboard first, and then I will be able to use it with a punch. Perfect. It's like an old tag I can use for this. To drink something in between. Thank you. Thank you. You are better than my husband. He left me here and he is playing games on his computer. I could die here, but no, he wouldn't even know. No, he knows I have great time with you, so it is absolutely fine. I have some tea. What this gel is doing on my Well, I can start screaming for help, so maybe he will notice, but I will let it dry for a moment so the gel is not going to bend the paper that much. And now my brain is thinking on how to express what I feel. What is happening with me when I look at that page? Do I feel it is ready? What else would like to include? Which elements are going to represent the emotion? I try to talk to myself. I'm trying to also discuss with the page to see where is it going to take me. Yeah, entangled, exactly. Tangling and untangling is a very important part of the creative process. And I'm going to use circle. Circle, come on. Oh, it got stuck, I hate it. And I'm going to use it as a halo. I really like using halos because for me they represent creative process. So I'm going to put it as a halo behind my head. But this is probably not everything. Yeah, I will find more. Yeah. I do think back to the emotions that time. It all depends what is on what is happening, right? If it's something, the image that brings special memories, I will recall these memories. Or if it's person that I know, or if it's like, I create that project for that person. I try to recall the feelings and the memories which are connected to that person. And that's why, for example, sometimes when I work on the family photos, and now I miss my family a lot, I can feel a lot of emotions that will be putting me, to crying or feeling I miss them so much. And then you can channel that energy as well, and you can turn it into, you're pouring your love to that person on the page, or you're working with these emotions and you are trying to put them on the page in the visual way so they get off your shoulders and they sit on the page and they are safe there. You don't really have to feel them all at the same time, if you know what I'm doing, if you know what I'm trying to say. It's like therapy. Instead of talking to somebody about it, you can just put it on your page and let it be in front of you. And when you come back to this after some time, you may discover these emotions are healed, they're gone, they're good. Or you may still see, okay, it's still causing trouble and drama. Maybe it's not healed yet. Maybe I should work with it a little bit more. But it's safe in your book. It's safe in front of you. It is not exactly happening inside. Exactly, it's grounding, it's healing, and it's working through. And we all have a lot of feelings that are happening, and we can use them as a fuel for creativity. So healing part is one thing, but using that intentionally as the fuel is another. And you may say this is kind of like almost manipulative technique, but honestly, I had a friend that she used her anger and her quite complicated emotions caused by not very good relationship to create the most amazing projects she ever created in her life. So this fuel may be great if you're able to channel it. there is a story behind it, and even if we can't tell what details, yeah, you can't, because you don't know exactly what the things mean to me. But the beauty of art is that you give your own meanings to the elements you see. So for you, this bird may be saying one thing, and for me, it's going to be other thing. And this way, we have creative discussion, and you may see completely different story in the page I'm creating, and I will be trying to express something else, but the interaction is the value of the creative project, right? If you're looking at somebody's art and it starts to, give you some feelings, it means the job is done. It means that something is going on and there is this process happening. So this is what we wanted, really. This is what we feel we should do. I need some texture, so we will do a bit of this. This part felt very flat, so it's not going too flat anymore. Modeling paste. Yeah. Where did I put this paste? Here. I still need something, but I need to dry it so I can use that time for thinking. I will do my best. This series is going to go through a lot of creative options, so surely there will be some journal pages and there will be some things that we will work on together. The journal is great because it's not a lot of the space, so we kind of have to go compact and quite flat. My cat is no. Okay, yes. So we have a double kick. We have now double halo. Still quite flat though, so it is okay. And now a bit of the things that make me happy and things that I really like to use. So a bit of the details that will go into it. I just want to find the foam. I had it here yesterday. And then it disappeared. Let's see what we have in the magical box. Yeah, that is basically the balcony, and the bird is looking like me like, what is she up to again? Because we always have some Yes, I need the bigger flower. Jaguniu, co tam robisz? My intuition is telling me I need a bigger flower, so I'm looking for the bigger flower now. I will take one of these flat laces and take one of the flowers. See, I have the feeling it should be blooming. Something here should be blooming. So I will change these small flowers for something bigger now. And it's okay. This was not too big. I will use them next time or in other place. Come on, stick. Don't act out. Stick, you girl. Okay. I'm just sitting like in the nest now. So apparently I needed some grounding today. A stick. What I'm saying to you, stick. And this one goes here. Okay. Then this pen nib doesn't fit. This flower goes in here. Almost there. I need to find the last touches. And the color, of course, because it will need some color as well. A query: in the style of our journal, can I give volume? It's basically flat. Yeah, the only thing you have to deal with later when you have the volume, it's that your journal is never going to close properly. And I accept it, and my journals are very dimensional. As you could see, I don't care. They are not really books anymore. They turn into works of art. So they are dimensional artworks for me, and that's okay. But if you really want to keep the feeling this is a book, you have to stick to mostly flat techniques. So not adding too much of the dimensional elements. And that is a challenge for some of us. For example, for me, that would be a challenge. So I have to just go with whatever happens and accept it. I try to be on the middle ground most of the time, so it is not terribly dimensional. But I will show you my journals, right? They are, they're bulky. I don't think, honestly, that worrying about being flat should stop your creativity. Okay, I would put it this way. If you feel that you want to go dimensional, just do it. You're going to worry about that later, and it's still fine, and nobody will really question your decisions. It's your book. If you are able to accept it is not going to be completely flat later, it's fine. So what happens when I do things like that, and when I focus on gluing elements, it's like I'm waving elements of the reality that I recognize as my reality to express feelings that I have at this point, or to show general idea, to give the impression on what may be going on inside. And I leave it open to interpretation, because my creative language is only fully recognizable and understandable for me. And I keep using several elements that I keep repeating. For example, I like to use the little resistors, and I can tell you why, what the resistors are, and they have quite a lot of meanings. But one of them in Polish history, and in the early 80s, people who were opposing the communist government, they were using the little resistor that was pinned into their clothes as an example of the resistance. They were showing each other that they are the ones who are not supporting the local government. So in a way, the resistors have quite special meaning, and I still like that steampunk feeling of them. But at the same time, I keep remembering that element of history. And I gave up on flat. Yeah, I gave up on flat as well. There is no need to fight. So I'm going to include one or two resistors, because I tend to resist when people tell me that what I do is not worth enough, or when what I do is not real art. And that was me at that time. I was resisting to people who were saying I should never try to be a full-time artist. That I should never be looking for this kind of dream in my life, because it is impossible. They told me what I was doing is odd, is irresponsible, and I kept doing my things. So they are resistance elements from my past. I don't have to resist anymore, but this is the element of the memory that I include in this project. I remember that time, and I remember that I had to resist. And I remember that there were people who were supporting me, and there were people who were pulling me down. As always, there is somebody who is going to pull you a little bit down. So now, the color, the final text, and the page is done. And color will be very, very limited, but I would like to dry it first. Of course, the most important color will be the brown color of the tea. So first, let's make it sure it's going to stick. Bless your hearts. Yeah, I know. We all listen to the negativity from time to time, but luckily I had people who were on my side and they were, thinking like, yeah, it is possible. Just a little bit of drying so the things are going to stick. Of course, when you work with the photo, remember the photo will try to bend a little bit, so don't put too much of the heating in that place. Now, a bit of white gesso again. A little bit here on the lace. Very, very watered gesso. So I can add more of the color if I want to. You were very sweet. I will resist. Oh my God, I will. Because now I'm not resisting just for myself. On some point, I started to be responsible for people who follow my classes, who learn from me, and they somehow think that I'm an example of the creative person. So it put some pressure on me to resist in their name as well. So they will feel the support that what they are doing is so worthy, because I really believe all of you, you are made to be creative and you are supposed to express yourself. And if you don't want to fight for yourself, I will fight for you, because I really, really believe you should create. And there is a creative bone in your body, and you should listen to this part of your nature that tells you that you should express yourself. So I'm not going to give up now. I'm too big and too old to give up. I had the time to grow. And whatever is not going to break you, it makes you stronger. This is proof that you exist. Yes, I did a bit of water in the gesso because I want to see the text. Come on, Vasily, I'm just too big to... I'm too big girl to be worried about things such as people trying to stop me now. It's too late. Tea. So the first color I'm putting in is my bow, the most important thing, tea, and I'm just going to let it go wherever it wants to go. It's beautiful golden color. It's fresh because I made it today. And it's very strong infusion. Black tea from the shop. Supermarket black tea. And then we dry.
Oh, you are so sweet. Well, if you don't have creative friends around you, you have us, and we do understand, and we are here for you. So please do remember there's always somebody who's going to listen and somebody who's going to help you if you need that help. And don't be afraid to ask for the help, because some people feel embarrassed when it comes to this. And believe me that it is not worth it. It's just better to ask for help and try to accept it when it comes than to struggle. With minty becomes green shades? Not really. I tried, it's very light in color. You can try, but I don't really think you can get strong infusion, strong enough to give really visible green. You can experiment, but I think only fresh mint would give you a bit of result, but I don't think it's going to be enough for you. I need to dry it. And now, thinking about more of the colors, what kind of colors I can add here to make it complete. It doesn't need a lot of color though, just a little bit of the definition here and there, and some pencil for sure, because elements are too similar to each other. Espresso will give you dark brown, yeah. Even just such cheap thing as the instant coffee is going to give you interesting shade. So now we need to look at the colors of it. It really has beautiful brown shade, a little bit like burnt yeah, burnt sienna maybe. First of all, I'm going to add a little bit of the shadows because it is not giving me enough. So I'm taking very soft pencil. I'm going to create a bit of the drama. So don't worry, some of the lines will get more visible. Freestyle. And we will do some freestyle exercises as well, so you will see that you will let go. If you have this feeling that you're ruining your project by freehand doodling, there will be some nice exercises for you to do in the future. Now, the color. I have a bit of green in here and a bit of red, and I love red. And this green is almost like light mint green, red. Pencil, it's very soft pencil. That is something that is probably equal to European 4B or 6B, so something very soft. I need some water because these are watercolor pencils.
I will just try to add a bit of detail here and there. I really use quite a lot of red lines in my art journaling because I think it creates the impact. And it is one of the things that I like. I use the pencils only because this is just very limited color. And then, of course, you can make it flow with the water because they're watercolor pencils. So you can add a bit of that. Oh, come on. You can do better than that. Don't be so shy. Now I try to put it together so the color goes from one page to another. A little bit. Still too shy. Now I'm just playing to express and to play with the meanings that I had in my head. Color choices are of course something which is personal, but you will see a lot of black, red, brown and gold in my projects when it comes to journal. I'm balancing the red because it was missing here. It's not supposed to be the way you use the watercolor pencils, but they're convenient. Who cares? As long as it works. So what I think, red is powerful color, and when it goes on my page, especially around the halo, it gives the sense of the energy and power, and it goes nicely with the resistance and the general topic of empowerment and creative energy and being in the creative flow. So the red is a perfect choice. Now we have to do something here because this is not working too well. So a little bit of the darker color. That seems to be dark. Maybe. Let's dry it. So now this side is almost done. Let's say I would like to add just part of the text here, and I'm really tempted to add dots around the halos as well. I'm not sure yet how to do it. Maybe I will do some kind of liquid drops. And here I've got a space for a little text I would like to include. Now, before I'm going to finish, I have to balance that red with this side, which is not having enough of this color yet. So I need to do a little bit more for the bird, because poor thing, it doesn't have enough strength to balance that big red group on the other side. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the screen, so if you have any question, please repeat. So I will find it in a moment, okay? Because now I'm trying to look at the colors. Ah, yes. Yes, white. It's very big glare on the screen, so you don't see it exactly the way it should be. Always a bit of unicorn, because unicorn is good for you. I will just do some unicorn splatters, and I will touch it. Oh, this is quite dry. I have to add water. Palette. You are the best cheerleaders. Really. Yeah, this paint needs some liquid medium, but that's in a moment. I don't have time for that now. Because the halo was not visible enough.
So, what is... Oh, hello. Can you bring me something to drink, please?
Yes.
Thank you. It's almost finished. Now, I told you I think I have these ones. Crystal drops. They should work. They should. I never have the patience though. Oh no, I don't have. I think they're too dry already. Yeah, they're too dry. I have to get something else. So not today apparently. I'm going to use this is what it is when you don't use it enough. No, not going to work today. So I have to come with the concept of possibly the white dots, maybe with just simply white pen. And now I need to find the text, okay? The text, well, the text. I will find a word or a sentence that is going to finish it. Usually it's good to just trust your intuition. Well, I'm not dying 1,000 times. Okay, this is like the names stop to be usable. Very tempting. Bottles, empty, empty cognac bottles. O! Zamiłowanie piękna, which means the love for beauty. Yeah, and this is the text for today. The love for beauty made me do it. And this will go here, but I would like to make sure it's going to stick nicely. So I will maybe use some little squares. We're almost there. So slowly, following the emotion that I felt today and the elements that are my creative language, things that make me happy, following the concept of using tea in my art again after such a long break. I made a project that is in fact celebration of the creativity, and it should be empowering for all of us, and it's like a reminder that we should follow that path, and it's kind of telling my story as well, because it was not so easy at the beginning. So in a way, from the gathering the papers that wanted to be used, little resistors that wanted to be used, the bird that showed up on the table today, and the elements that really made me happy. So the tea bags and the old lace. We came with the journal page, which is telling kind of a story that I wanted to share with you. And of course, not all of the elements I'm using are, kind of logical for everybody. But together with you, I made this
project based on what sparkled my interest today, based on what was calling my name today. And now I would like you to think about the homework I want you to do, and I will write it down as well, of course. But there are 2 steps. Okay, so I will just make sure that you are going to think through it. So, first, I'm going to talk to you. So you can see me. Yeah. So first step. In the next 3-4 weeks, start to be mindful and start to think and collect the things that sparkle the joy, which are kind of calling your name. And that may be a bottle cap on the street, that may be a piece of feather that you found, and that may be a quote that you heard. And take it into your pocket, take it into your bag if it's physical thing, or if it's something that is not physical, put it into your mental pocket, push it into the part of the brain so you can write it down. Maybe if it's lovely text of the song, write the name of the song, and then you can always put it in the background. So save some time for listening to your responses, listening to yourself, and gathering the things that sparkle the joy. Okay? Then, once you have some of them, 2, 3, 4, look at them and give them a little bit of time. Just play with them. Put them in front of you. If it's music, put it on and let them talk to you. Let them give you some hints. Just try to give them the chance to sparkle your creativity. Give them the chance to tell you what they want you to do. Because usually, subconsciously, you already see the potential in them, and this is your subconsciousness pushing you to use them in your art. For example, I was at the flea market and I saw that, and I had to buy all of them because I knew in the future there will be such a great element in my project. For now, you focus on 1, 2 things. Let's say you picked red ribbon, okay? Think about that red ribbon. What kind of story this ribbon wants you to tell? Is it a wrap around something? Is it maybe something that is going to be part of the journal page? Maybe this ribbon is going to be on the top of something and it's going to be the main decoration. Try to explore and try to do 2, 3 small things with that, just to play and, just to start the creative process. Don't go far. Remember about this mini book that I made when I literally used a pressed flower and a little bit of gesso and some splatters of tea, and this is enough. Don't go far. In this month, we take these sparkles and play with them in different ways. So, 1 step, find the sparkles and save them. Step 2, look at them and let them inspire you. Let them talk to you. Try to find different ways of using them. Number 3, make tiny, 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 mini-size projects that will use them in different ways. So if you pick needles, use needles in different ways. So put them into something, bend them, break them, show them in their whole beauty and glory. That is going to take you on another level. If you pick apple, because you love apples, right? Look at the apple. What color is it? Use the colors of the apple for your project. Stamp the shape of the apple. Draw apples. make prints of apples. Uh, Whatever comes to your mind, what you can do with the topic of the apple is up to you, really. But play with this, bend it, just like I did with my tea bags. Put it like this, rip it apart, use it as a background, try to roll it. Oh yeah, roll it. I have to roll, yeah. Now I have to roll my tea bag for the next project. Like, roll it, of course. Yeah, try to play with this, squeeze everything you can from this little sparkle, okay? And I really encourage you to take something not very valuable and not very meaningful. So something that you can easily replicate, for example, or something that is, you won't feel bad if something goes wrong. So if you're playing with the ribbon, you can stamp this ribbon, you can spray this ribbon, you can make elements, but it's not valuable. It's not your keepsake, right? It's not your family keepsake. It is not your precious little thing, because this is just the warm-up and the exercise. And then once you are done with this little things, you may feel encouraged and you may feel ready to create something bigger based on that ideas. But what we're going to do are those little acts of art, okay? Tiny acts of art based on the element that sparks your creativity. So I made a little act of art today because this book and this girl called my name. Yeah, I made a really tiny act of art, but this was enough. And I was able to unblock myself. I was able to make a journal page in front of you, and I was able to go on another level of creativity. After break of 3 weeks, and after the break when I had to really focus on product designing, which is completely different field of creativity and it keeps you away from your table, surprisingly. So little baby steps, sparks turning into big fires to change into wildfire in the future. Does it make sense? This is something that we can use, and this beauty in everyday objects, it's something that may start your creativity. I made a lot of projects with the brush because brushes are all around me. There's nothing special about the brush, but this is an element of the art we create. So let's take this old brush, break it into pieces, put it again into another kind of art. And if Vasilis feels uncertain, that is something that is a creative exercise. So take something that you really, really like and you would really want to use and start playing with that in a small bits. Don't do exercises, do small pieces with the thing that makes you happy, and release the sense of joy, release the sense of being a child playing in the sandbox, and take off the pressure, because we are doing small things and nobody has to see them, okay? The most important thing in this creative mindfulness is to enjoy the journey. Many people repeat that, but this is enjoying the journey, exploring and rediscovering things instead of making beautiful projects in the end. So you can take your new supply if you feel that, oh, household objects are really, really boring. You don't want to play with household objects, but you have new color of paint you wanted to use. Take this pot of paint and then do as much with this one color as possible. For example, you took this color of paint, and this color of paint is your starter. What kind of project you can do with that? What kind of color is it? Is it happy color? Is it sad color? Is it calm? Or is it something which is giving you energy? Use it as a background, use it as an accent, use it to create a little bit of the elements together with other colors. But in the next few small projects, like a little warm-up, use this color. Remember when we were talking about the chocolate box in the beginning? Yeah, that's the flame. If you got a chocolate box, explore the possibilities of the chocolate box. What can you do with the smell of chocolate, color of chocolate, box of the box, the shape, the emotions that they give you? There are so many ways to turn the thing many times around and suck it from all the juices to use that to fuel your creative energy. So, does it make sense? Yeah. Well, smell, not eat. Well, it all depends on the person. I am not too good in not eating things that I like. I usually eat. I know you are dieting, so I started dieting too, so I am kind of supporting you. I put extra kilos because of the Christmas time. We are all guilty. So what do you think? That was theory and creating art in one. Okay. What do you think about this kind of formula for some of the future live streams? What are the things you liked and what are the things that were confusing? Or maybe I could explain better. Okay. It's important for me to know. Because there will be other creative exercises based on waking up our creativity and finding things that can flame into art. But I have to know how this is going to work. I know, no chocolate is hard separation. The way you explain it just sparks joy. Oh! Because this is something I was really worried about, because the concepts behind releasing your creativity are huge. And we have to do it in the bite sizes. So today we're discussing creative mindfulness, so focusing on one happy object or one absorbing object, one thing that can possess your mind. So let your mind be possessed with this one thing, okay? You can do it with one element only. That is the easiest. If you feel adventurous, you can do more. So let be possessed with the shape of the brush. Let yourself be possessed with the color of the paint. Let yourself be possessed with the labels of the wine bottles. This is really being possessed with idea. Yes, it should be small, and it is something that you can do. For example, good idea is if you are not art journaling at all, because this is a strange concept for some of you, take mini sizes like ATC cards. ATCs are perfect to explore that options because they are small. And you can do multiple using the same supplies, right? Another good idea, matchboxes, decorated matchboxes, and they have space inside so you can put special compositions or messages inside. Again, use the same supplies to make different variations of the small surface. This is something that is going to show you how flexible you are and how you can creatively explore one product or one object. Okay? It doesn't have to be art journaling. For example, yesterday I was teaching a class, and one of this class elements, there were microbeads. And we were doing altered book cover, and then some of these people were finishing quicker, of course, and there was one lady who got the microbeads as a part of the kit. And after that, when we finished the project, people were showing what they did. Beautiful work, really happy. She said, I can't stop. I am obsessed with this microbeads. What happened for her? This was this moment of clicking in the brain. She just got the spark and she followed the spark. So she started punching butterflies and putting microbeads on the top of them for decoration. She started to sprinkle these inside of the embellishments. She started adding elements, and then she had a lot of different little things, which included that one thing that really sparkled her interest, and she could come back to these little things later as a source for inspiration for the future projects. Or she could use these little bits and put them together and create something else. But she explored the possibilities of that one thing on different surfaces, in different combinations, and she was playing with that like a child. And this is what we do. We play like children with something we discovered. You can discover a feather, you can discover love for sparkly glue, you can discover whatever kind of thing that makes you happy, because I can't guess. I am absolutely in love with old paper. I'm absolutely in love with the old photos. And I'm absolutely in love with this little book with the Japanese letters inside. And because it is all that is giving me the juice to go. And try to push yourself intentionally into turning the spark into the flame. Because we overlook the sparks too often. We overlook this moment of too often because, oh yeah, microbeads, I will try that later. No. Take these beads and try them now in many ways, right? In many ways. Or explore, what can I do with this one thing that way? Can I mix it with something else? Can I stick it? Can I stretch it? Can I use it on the top of the box? Can I use it inside of the box? Something that is going to play. Don't think too much, because thinking is killing the moment of game, like the moment of playing. And this is what we need to do. Let these things tell you what they want. This can be inspiring. Once I discovered the square of the foam squares, and I started using them as embellishments instead of gluing elements with them, because I was playing and I really wanted to use something that was on my table, and it was a moment of spark. And I have some projects when I use them as lines of squares because they're dimensional and they're not melting when you heat them with the heat gun. Who cares? This is not the purpose, but it is exploring of what you can do. One day you may want to take your palette and turn it into altered art, but to think outside of the box and to give yourself this flexibility and creativity, baby steps, okay? Because if you jump into the huge the huge lake, into very deep lake right away, thinking I'm going to do microbead masterpiece, 500 colors, and it's going to be 1 meter by 1 meter. This is huge, right? But if you're going today I'm making microbead butterfly, tomorrow I'm going to make microbeads in paste, on the next day I'm going to do microbeads in the shaker box. This is simple. Yeah, you can pick whatever that is giving you this moment. I really like using everyday things, but if this concept is very different to what you usually do, you can pick the art supply that you were planning to use but you never used, and you still want to do it, and you feel like, yeah. And remember, only small things. Small journal page, very, very simple. Small card, small box, just dubbing and playing so you can explore what they do without making huge time-consuming project. Okay? Exercising, stretching, playing without planning big. Planning big is for later. In January, we stretch the muscles before the work. Yes, Gabi is asking, is it something that is going to come later when you are going to use a lot of certain product? It is going to give you the confidence, it's going to be part of your signature. Yes, you have to get the confidence, and the more you're going to use it, the more it is going to be natural to you, and it's going to be part of your signature in your project. I'm trying to be helpful, and I'm trying to give you knowledge in the way that it works for me. And I just hope I'm not scaring you too much. Okay, so I will make, of course, a folder for this, and you will have 1 month to play. And I will try to write it down in a logical way tomorrow, so you will have clean instruction. You can always come back to this video and see how the things can evolve. I really wanted you to, to see that from small idea, you can evolve into a lot of projects. This is the plan. We take small thing and we stretch it to the maximum to see what it can do for us, how it can grow, because this is how, think about, okay, there's French painter, Monet, or Manet. He only painted ballerinas, ballet dancer ladies. And that was his signature thing. He only painted that basically, and he's famous for that, but he did it in a beautiful way, and that was absolutely every project he made, and that now it's displayed in the museum, is different take on the ladies dancing in the ballet, right? So there are some painters, for example, we have Polish painter Chełmoński. He was deeply focusing on painting horses. And he was painting horses in the village, during the races, running horses, standing horses, horses. If you can see the painting with horses, and especially crazy running horses, that's him, right? So that is possible to focus on one thing. Yes, Paul Conley focused on splatters, and he's famous for that, and he did so many splatters in his life. So one thing can take you very far. One idea, one object, one technique can take you very far if you play in a creative way and you let yourself explore. The focus is really on being mindful. So focus the attention, see the possibilities, explore, and exercise with them. That's it. Yeah. So I hope that is helpful. I hope you are ready for some small creativity in January. And I say we accept every kind of project. It doesn't have to be journal. It may be Matchbox, ATC, mini block. It may be anything that really feels small and not overwhelming for you. And we're going to open a space for that in the group, so you can explore. Just let us know what is the object you are exploring. For example, I'm exploring microbeads, or I'm exploring pressed flowers, or I'm exploring 3D foam squares. And then you can have idea, you can create your own mini gallery of the things that you're exploring. We need a journal for teaching things. I think creative whispering is nice title, and it's like, horse whispering, like finding the way to encourage the creativity to work for us the way we want. So we are not just the victims of creative flows, which is happening or not. And we are able to encourage it to come, to lure it to come in the right moment. And there are many ways, many techniques, and some of them will be better for you because, it's much more your style. And some of them will be not so great for you because you don't feel it. But we will try different approaches and different ways of sparkling creativity and finding inspiration and creative exercises. And some of them will surely call your name. And this is my plan. I want you to see different ways of finding inspiration, and I would like you to try different ideas. So, I'm telling you, there are no hacks. Like, you can get creative and successful with your art right away in 2 weeks. No, you have to do some stretches, you have to do some exercises, and this is what we are doing. I'm happy you enjoy. Yes. If you're staring on a tiny object for hours, it's apparently sparkling your creativity and joy, and you should absolutely explore the possibility of it. Good example of the object that is sparkling a lot of creativity, they are the pebbles. How many things you can do, with these pebbles? You can use them as elements in the project. You can add glitter under them. You can use them as drops on the flowers. So many things can be done, and you can just exercise these little options and try to think what you can do. I'm ready to think about the next topic as well. So I was really worried in the beginning because it seems to be a lot, but I hope this is going to work. Yeah, push someone to try. Yeah. Trying is the best thing, and you should give yourself permission to play and don't expect miracles. Like, it's not about miracles, it's about playing and experimenting to see what works for you and what you like, because you are not confident what your style is, you are not sure what is your creative language if you don't explore the possibilities. And this is like the step pushing you towards finding your own style. Thank you very much. I will surely try to join you with some small exercises. Maybe I will do some more of these. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I have to take the pressure off now and then relax a little bit. But really start focusing. Find the object, put it in your pocket for exploration, and then put it in front of you and play and play and play. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night. And I will leave you now. It was very, very long live stream, but hopefully you will be able to watch it later in some smaller portions as well. Thank you. If you want to say something about the stream, like you would like to give me some feedback, please, you can message me or you can leave it in the comments. So, sometimes you just need time to give me some feedback as well. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. I have to switch it off now. Here.